Jake, what's happening?
What's up, Kurt? How are
Good,
you?
good, good. Excited to see and dive into this historical Kamandi Last Boy on Earth, issue number 8. Just before we pressed record, you have an original copy of uh, this comic, and the entire background here is black. I will see if I can get a screenshot. You can probably end up sending me something too, but it's a good place to start when it comes to talking about this.
Yeah, looks like they maybe there was some other separations kicking around or some other art. I can't really see anything besides the orange background. It's just like some sunset or something.
No, it's they're in a building, so this is a I think an ease or something at the top, and then there's a something there, and then columns, and then there's all these famous presidents, stone heads, Kennedy, LBJ, Nixon, and then the
Yeah.
lions of the United States are jumping, and it's going to be an interesting story because why would they be fetishizing, to use a term from previous issue
hmm
7, these famous dead animals that could not speak?
Yeah, I mean I'm looking online. The only images I can see of Kamandi 8 have the black background.
Wow.
So
So this might be
it
something that
seems
they did for this collection, which we are reviewing. It was a
yeah, maybe they
2013 reprint. I don't know. Somebody got a little crafty.
maybe they
Mm,
decided they didn't like the black
mm.
and they said, let's make it orange with a background. But my guess is that they discovered there was some art. Maybe when they went to press originally in 1973, they maybe there was a problem. They didn't have time and they said, well, just make the background black and put it out.
Yeah.
And so that's how it came out. But now that they're, doing this, what they call it, Treasury Omnibus
Yep. Yep.
edition, maybe they said, "Hey, we found the original art and we have time to clean it up or do whatever we need to do." And so they put it out like that. So yeah, this is editorializing, revising history.
Get a lot of that going on
Um,
in these here worlds of the
oh God, yeah, the stories about rushing to print, rushing to press are probably like a whole, these probably hours and hours of stories like that behind the scenes. But yeah, let's get
dive
into the
in. Let's
story. So
go.
yeah, let's see what else is different, right? Um, so yeah, page one, we have what's his name? It's Sultan, the head of the lion uh, force, and he's asking Kamandi if he can identify all these faces. And this is funny. People that might be watching this might not know who these faces are either. But um, in 1973, we know that Kirby was a couple of months ahead of putting stuff out. 1973, the Watergate scandal was underway, but Nixon wouldn't resign until 74, I believe, and so he was scandalized, and now he's considered a disgraced American president.
Mhm.
Um, Kirby was just drawing all the presidents as if nothing was happening, and as if they would be remembered, thousands of years into the future, just like nothing ever happened.
That's
But
great. That's great.
we know better. Yeah. So Kamandi is walking Sultan through this indoor museum they have, and we see that they have Lincoln, and this is from the Lincoln Monument, but they also have all these lion statues. So it's almost as if the entire civilization started all over with lions instead of humans. And as we see, this beautiful Kirby double page spread. It's a good one. I especially like the right side, but we have all these giant figures, so there's a lot of different scale going on here. Interesting color choices, right, to make things on different like planes. And then that background is super
I
cool.
love
I don't
it.
know what it
I
is,
love
but
it.
it's like
I love it. A
psychedelic.
museum, and then there's just some kind of thing that's up at the top of the staircase, and it comes down, and then there's like a seems to be like some sort of space going back in here, and then there must be some dig going on down here or something because they found something important down there. That's the ancient Lincoln Monument.
Right, and they're digging up these human relics. Kamandi says, "Look, that's the part of the ancient Lincoln Monument. Your species was highly valued once." Um, yeah, moving through the museum, Kamandi asks, "If you lions keep poking around Old Washington, you'll find that my species was more highly valued than you think." And Sultan is talking again about the land Washington Zoo held many secrets. They're talking about when the disaster struck, the lions broke out of the zoo. They went west and built a great city. And Humanity says, yeah, they're kind of like collaborating here on filling in the history. And suddenly, a guard steps in and says, "No pets allowed here." And Sultan is apparently not in charge. He's told to get Humanity out of here, and he does. He turns around and they head out. Um, this is where I'm missing some panel. Oh wait, no, yeah. Luckily, I'm missing a panel. It's just an ad. Aurora Racing, AFX, and on one side, on the other side, there's an ad for Shazam, Captain Marvel blockbuster issue, more limited
Shazam.
edition. Um, but oh no, there's entire pages missing here. Oh,
Oh
so let
no.
me look at yours. Yeah,
So yeah, we're
so
already
yeah,
in,
so
in
as
chapter two with Beyond Reason and that funky Kirby font, man. Freestyling,
yes,
brother.
the space wasting
Squashing that
font. I
in,
love that
just
font.
squashing it in there. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, it's looking a little psychedelic too.
Yeah.
Like the record covers and the album art of the late '60s had a lot of this, but this is not like melty, drippy letters. This is like kind of jagged, like almost like carved out of rock
Yeah,
letters. So
organic.
just
There's a
want
lot
to,
of organic feeling of
yeah,
just letting things kind of like you were saying in the last episode, and your kids and having them just sort of write out letters and then let the spaces between them get closer and closer.
definitely, yeah. If you want to go back to the last issue, we do about 5-10 minutes on that lettering style, which I love, love,
Mm, mm,
love.
mm.
But yeah, so I'm looking at yours, and it looks like Sultan is bringing Kamandi through a little thoroughfare where humans indeed are kept on leashes. And why don't you bring us through that one?
Yeah, eat your candy pet. So there's this like really tall, skinny, kind of like a leopard. I don't know if maybe this is a female lioness kind of type or
Lioness,
something.
yeah.
And then there's this Greek-looking hippie guy with his
I don't
collar.
think we've seen a lioness yet, so maybe this is just the
Yeah,
female.
yeah.
They don't have manes,
No,
right?
no,
So
no. And she's very
um,
elongated and slender, especially in the hands. I don't think he would have drawn a masculine
yeah, it
character.
looks interesting and interesting color scheme
Hmm.
too. Reminds me of Lorna Doone. What's her name? The Polaris, right? A little bit.
Hmm.
So what happens on the next page?
And so it turned, and then Kamandi is a little pissed off at this slave pet for the lion, and people, and so he jumps the wall. And while this guy's eating his candy with his lychee, slave traitor, oh my! And then so he gives this guy a beating. You've junked a proud heritage for a
Well, what the hell did
lease.
this guy?
Yeah, no, he just
Yeah,
says
that
you've junked a proud heritage for a leash. Pow. You don't deserve the name of man. Get on your feet. Wow. And then the guy turns on him,
interesting.
grabs him by the hair, does a little judo throwing. They get into a
Yeah,
scrap.
I got
It's a
this page.
really, really, really great scrap. And so
Yeah,
Kamani finds himself savagely mauled and scratched and beaten. You rat owl. No, you won't.
yeah.
Crack
And then Sultan,
comes in,
yeah,
grabs the
Sultan has to
leash.
come.
Back off.
yeah, Sultan has to step in and save Kamandi from the
And the
slave.
slave's response is rah, rah, rah. So he doesn't have like a
Right.
speech. He's constantly just making grunting sounds. He's not like, yes, I am. What are you talking about? No.
You fool, you've tangled with a security pet. He's trained to kill. And here come the guards now.
Yeah.
And who started this ruckus? There's some accountability here. And they're asking Sultan where'd he pick up this wild stray. Um, he's really gentle. Actually, he wouldn't hurt a fly. And Kamandi can't take it. He says, "I'm a man. Do you hear me? I'm a man." I don't know why. Yeah, so Commandy's got a little bit of a aggressive attitude here and very defensive about his species for the first time in issue 8. Um, Kicks the guard's weapon out of his hand, catches it on the fly, and this is a real page turner. In story page 9, he's shooting the ground as a warning. He says he can use it too. Come close and I'll put some holes in your toes. Says, look out, take cover is dangerous. Kamandi is just shooting up in the air, and Kamandi's really pissed. He says, that goes for you too, Sultan. Take off, or else I'll. And Sultan is talking him down here. Give me the rifle, I'm asking as your friend. He goes, no, as my master, you mean. That's what you really mean. Isn't it? Isn't it? Suddenly, Kamandi's anger drains from him. He feels reason returning and a strange weariness. And he gets fed up. He says, "What's the use? I can't do it." And he tosses the rifle into a store window, which is also breaking the law, I imagine. Uh, it's funny we don't get a sound effect there. Um, but Kamandi is holding his head in his hands, and the narration says he's sobbing in torment. Nature seems to have played a tragic trick, produced a single super intelligent animal. And Sultan is thinking about, you know, how Kamandi is reasoning almost as well as a lion, and he's got to act fast because the authorities are coming to put him in the slave pound. And sure enough, they move in, and they want to take custody of him. He asks if he can talk this over, and all the lions are up in arms. So he's got to pick him up and run. And Kamandi all of a sudden is apologizing. They get on a dune buggy, and Sultan is taking him to a spot where he can make a run for it. It's his only chance.
Yeah,
So
there's
that brings.
definitely, I think it's pretty decent just up to this point where Commandy's in a struggle of obviously being thought of and treated as an animal, yet he, in a let's say an adolescent way, is rebelling. But then at the same levels of growth, he's realizing that he could be doing something uh, to sort of help. Like that's a pretty powerful panel. You know, I can't change things. That's what a spazzy teenager would say. So he's not a fully formed hero, and he's still
Well, yeah,
finding
he
ground.
lost it. He lost it in that little sequence, which is pretty uncharacteristic
Hmm.
so far. Um,
Sure.
and yeah, but this is why he's going to part ways with Sultan now,
Hmm.
and Sultan brings him here to the outskirts of the civilization. Um, and where there's a kind of like an overgrown train here with trees growing out of it and
It's pretty
buses
sweet.
sticking out the side. Um, it's they're also teasing the return of Ben Boxer, which we'll see.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a good thing because Ben has got powers, but it's a pre-disaster vehicle discovered, and it's a train that must have crashed and piled up when the great disaster struck. Sultan is you know, parting the ways with Kamandi in a friendly way. He's even giving him some weapons and some ammo. And they're, saluting each other. Kamandi says, "You're a real friend, Sultan. I'll never forget you." Interestingly, in the original comic, this is the the center spread. So
Wow.
it's pretty weird opportunity that Kirby let go. He's got the splash on the left, but the page you're looking at on your left right now is actually on the right of
Okay.
the center spread with the staple in the middle. So there was,
No
I guess, not
four-page Disney ad like we had an issue
no 4 page
7.
Disney and no double page Kirby action
Yeah,
sequence either.
yeah. Well, I had
So
made the
come in,
statement that around issue 8 in comics around this time, as probably even before and going after, is that as numbers are going and as long as it takes, then the generating of the machine has to go. 7 and 8 would be that zone where you were either going to get canceled or they were going to say, hey, full steam ahead. So maybe we're still in a place that he's feeling confident now that he would like to see, you know, and expand his character, hence giving that bit of emotional depth to Kamandi.
yeah, I mean he's bringing back Ben Boxer, and we're going into some new adventure next. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're reading to see where this
Yep.
goes. We know that on the cover, the only information that we're seeing is that the lions are all chasing Kamandi around these big statues, and I think we've already passed that part. So, and that was kind of like an interpretation of the scenes uh, that we just had. Um, yeah, so Kamandi is alone in silence. This is where characters sometimes get a brief respite. He goes inside the train, sees all the skeletons. He's going to take shelter until the morning in the wreckage. Um, Not long after he tries to get some shut eye, he hears this loud sound.
What a
He says it
great,
sounds like
what a
coyotes.
great angle, you know.
Yeah, looking up. Um, and the big oohs, right?
Mhm.
Says it sounds like coyotes. He was warned by Sultan that there's looters around. He says he detects trouble moving around, and we see this hand
It's awesome.
coming in.
That's so sweet.
That grabs him.
That's great.
Uh, so yeah, we don't really see what's going on yet. He just starts shooting indiscriminately.
Good job.
Uh, the the shots break the steely grip of Commandy's attacker. Then he leaps from cover. Bears! And one of them is holding their hands. Ow, he nicked me. The other one says, I'll fix him. And Commandy's leaping around here. One of the bears grazes Commandy with a thrown rock. I think I got him. Ugh. And then standing on the ground looking up, it's the familiar costume of
Ben
Ben
Boxer.
Boxer.
What a great
It's
sequence shot there.
dazed and frightened. Commandy stares at the figure confronting him. No, no, it can't be. Then the
Yes.
familiarity becomes more apparent. It is Ben. Yeah, and I don't know. Let me see. On your edition, yeah, there's some really weird scratchiness on the face of Commandy there.
Yeah, no,
You know?
he's got a dirty face. You know what I mean? Like there, it's on this side here, kind of like
Yeah.
accentuates as he moves along.
Well, yeah, I think it's there for drama,
Expression.
maybe, but yeah. But it's like a sequence of him getting more and more extreme in his glee. Ben Botcha and Renzi, how did you two get here? And he says, "Hold it, friend. Here they come. Your attackers are headed this way. They look big and nasty." He says, "A few good shots will. Ready to fish and Ben." And then, ba-boom, they turn
Boom.
back into these cool, steely versions. I love these.
Yeah.
And they remind me a little bit of the Silver Surfer, but they're not exactly. They're kind of like, reminds me of like the Metal Men from DC Comics.
Yeah.
But, they got some, biological mutation or something, and they use atomic fission to change their bodies into steel, like armor. What that has to do with atomic fission, I don't know. I thought atomic fission is like cells that reproduce endlessly, releasing energy, but that's just me. I'm gonna have to look at yours. I got some missing panels here.
All right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. They're.
So the next pan,
Yeah. They're.
the Bears.
Yeah. These bears
Go
are
ahead.
coming back, rumbling. Um, more animals, and then these look different, but we can sell them too. Think again, you looters. Now be on your way. That's good advice. And of course, they get in a big tumble. But I wanted to make a comment that these bears, these mutant bears, or however we're supposed to classify the unhuman intelligence of the time, this sequence now seems to be getting into like a something that might have inspired Richard Corbin in was it Mutant World, Mutants, that
right?
series, and it's Son of Mutants, where there was that
Yeah,
same kind of, but the even the lead character was not completely a human, but he had like a skin like a human and stuff, but it kind of had a commandy kind of feel. And these characters look like something that would have really inspired Corbin to lead that on. But yeah, they get into
yeah.
a
Well,
big
by
rough
the
and tumble.
they so the idea of anthropomorphic characters, was huge, and then or superheroes that have some kind of power related to an animal or an insect or something that was being mined and mined and mined. Yeah, so these guys are in the middle of it, and Ben Boxer is well, they're smashing like big oak trees or big logs
Hmm.
on each other,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little sequence. Then we have Ben is giving the bear a whack, throwing him.
Crash.
Um, it continues on to the next page, so
Yeah.
some definitely good value here. Until finally, Ben says, "Our job's done. Our visitors are asleep. It's time to leave."
Knocked
And
out.
Kamandi says, "Hold on, you two. We've got a lot to talk about." And I don't know. I don't have that panel. Why don't you take it from there?
Uh, are you on page 17 still?
Yeah, the bottom of story, page 17.
Yeah, it's just Ben and Renzi lead Commandy to the opening of a great abandoned cave site. We came here and discovered this. It could be the very site of ancient atomic atomica test.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so let's find out if it is.
Yeah,
Whatever
so
it is.
they return to their normal form. Um, they say their forebears were scientists and astronauts that learned to survive the disaster, to live with the radiation. And he says they still wear these old spacesuits to prevent radiation leaks. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure how
Radiation leaks from
leak proof they've been.
themselves. Prevent
Yeah,
body radiation leaks.
I don't
Wow.
know. Well, if they're going
Hmm,
inside the site of the test, maybe they're afraid that there's still some radiation like kicking around,
hmm,
like Chernobyl or something.
hmm.
But he says it's time for the air traveler to show up. That big old balloon. So that's how you got here. Suddenly, from the hills above, rumble, and they say, "Run for the cave." I'm not sure what we're looking at there. What is that thing? It's like
Tank?
some kind of like big metal weight on a tether.
Yeah, a tank, but it's not.
Oh no,
It's
it's
a.
a grenade.
Oh yeah, I guess so. It's really supposed to be in the foreground, but yeah, it definitely looks like it's
It's a firebomb.
yeah, boom. Wow.
So yeah, they run into the
So
cave.
it's a
Some
booby trap.
beautiful, right? Some nice explosions and fire and Kirby dots. I see them. They're up on the hill. They may have more fire bombs. They say this will make our departure a pretty tight squeeze because remember they're trying to get the balloon in
Yep.
there. Commandy pops out and cover and fires at the bears above. They say keep down. That cub is good with the gun. Um, at that moment, strong cables drop from the sky. The air traveler has arrived, and it says Ben is now a moment of truth. It says we're heading home, Commandy. You're free to come with us or make it on your own. Commandy says, "Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll come along with you." So now we're looking here. This is so cool. This little panel, the fourth panel on the page, it's just showing them like the lateral movement as they're running for the ropes. But look at the black and white interplay of these astronaut
Yeah,
suits that is kind of like broken up by these rings.
yeah,
I love
me
that.
too.
And we just keep pointing out that, Kirby's all about the balance of black and white, of light and dark, but it has nothing to do with actual folds of clothing or drapery. It's just putting it wherever.
It's enough information to get the point across to keep you moving in the story.
Yeah, but it's also like very stylish art. It
Mm,
reminds me of
mm,
Liechtenstein, and it's very pop art.
mm.
Um, the cables are pulling us up. Command is still shooting at the bears. Higher and higher they go. Again, I don't know if this is just an air balloon, why they don't just shoot it, but okay. And they take him aboard, and you know what? They're just gonna ride off into the sunset here.
Wow.
They say they're headed for the tracking site, the name of their hometown. Um, the Kamandi remembers that name from his studies, from his microfilm studies, and he's just contemplating, what's coming on next. He's going to be headed for the tracking site, and this is where we end. And they just tease, wait till you see tracking site, and what that's all going to be about.
Yeah,
So
another short story. 20 pages.
only 20
Yeah.
pages of
A little
story,
surprising.
and pretty non-eventful, I would think.
Yeah.
There was some good action sequences there where they were fighting the bears,
Yep.
but as you know, they're just kind of like hit and run. It wasn't like a drawn out, plot line or anything.
Yeah. And then the scuffle with the slave, this 2 pager is pretty intense.
Right.
So yeah, I mean
Yeah.
there's
Right.
enough there, but yeah, it's still I still think that Kirby's not able to give a full sense of his own attention, but he's definitely still able to pull off a good, consistent, in sequence story, um, and and grow the character. You know.
Well, it's yeah, right. Because we see Commandy has flaws and he kind of lost his shit. But this was kind of like Kirby, I think, contemplating what comes next. It's the return of Ben Boxer, but that's not on the cover. The cover is just kind of sensationalizing the escape from the lion area,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so Kirby, just kind of like deconstructing this and working backwards. It seemed like Kirby wanted Commander to go out to some fresher adventures. Had to get him away from the lions. Says, all right, well, why don't I just have him like go crazy, because he doesn't like the way the lions are keeping humans in captivity, and he loses his marbles, and then he's gonna have to leave town. They introduce the bears for the first time. I don't think we really got a good look at the bears, honestly. So Kirby, that means Kirby didn't really like take too much time on the side to develop, the character designs and all that.
Yeah.
And then they brought back Ben Boxer, and he says, well, let's take them, to some other, enchanted place, and I'll just think about that in between issues, what that's going to look like and what's going to happen next, and where the story's going to go.
Yeah, I mean
But
the whole sticking with the sort of theme we're on right now, time frame wise, in doing our own making of Turbo Pit Fighter, the world building part of it. Like I'm just having these thoughts that a trick, if you'll allow me to use this word, of comic books, specifically um, Kirby, is it seems like every story he's adding onto the line, like 2 to 3 elements, new elements that don't get grander reveals. Like you were making, the bear looters, the fact that in the Lion Society they have these human pets, not even slaves. It's literally a pet that you give candy treats to. Um,
well, it's like a dog. They're used
yeah.
for protection too, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was a protection. I just think the pet man just responded in hostility as any you kick the dog, not no matter how nice a poodle that dog is, it's gonna bite you. It's just it's
Yeah.
an instinctual thing. Whether he or she's trying to protect the master is another thing. But the point of it, um, being that he's building a world for us. Obviously, we're at I'm totally involved in Kamandi. Always have been, always will be. But taking this deeper dive really gets me to think about the power of just giving the reader an element or two, uh, um, um, and then say, uh,
So yeah, so I agree with you too. Like, we can see here now in retrospect, how Kirby was putting these stories together, these comics together, art wise, story wise, and he maybe didn't realize, how much we were into this.
mm,
I remember at the time, I'm like, oh wow, Ben Boxer, he's got powers. Oh wow, like, I just felt like Kamandi was out there in this like harsh environment, and you felt like just viscerally like he was vulnerable, and you don't know what's around every corner. And Jack Kirby was just cranking this stuff out, and cutting corners and doing all, his fast style, and but it was still a lot of value there, and he didn't maybe realize how much we were already hooked by issue 8 here on this series. So, he was just probably doing his level best to just, come up with good stories and good action.
it
Um,
could be also
but
that
we
he's
were hanging on,
convincing himself. I'm kind of saying that too because he's not in these smaller reveals. He's not. Convincing us of anything yet. I mean, there are times he is convincing us with the action and the big pages, especially those double spreads at the beginning, to give us an establishing shot. But I kind of get the feeling that he's trying to convince himself and bring himself over into a space because you look there at issue 9 as a cover, man, that is going hog wild with Batman, and they're blasting, we could be in
right?
store for some really like throwdown. Let's put boots on the ground and get running. Where we're at. We know that the themes right now, so let's go.
Right. And so, and people should also realize, Jack Kirby, he was no average comic guy. By 1973, he had been making comics since the
Yeah.
40s, and he was, doing, superheroes and sci-fi and monster stories and everything at the highest levels for
Yep.
decades.
Three and a
And
half.
so, yeah, so, here he was, a guy that was given pretty much, freedom and license to, create stories and create characters. And his only accountability was, are these stories selling? And, can you just keep it going? Because, the idea of a success was, making money for the company and continuing, to work. And, it wasn't like, the past where he had a writer and he had Stan Lee or he had somebody handing him scripts and you have to do this. And no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. This is Jack Kirby just saying, you do everything. They don't, they just gave him some very light instructions, to begin, the project. And he just made all this stuff up, this whole world, all these characters, and he was in his fast style now. So, for him it was about pages and pages, cranking out volume. But in so doing, he created a timeless series, which is uber cool. I'm gonna think that eventually there's gonna be a movie and all that. I hope so.
Oh
But but we're just mining the depths here. So, forgive us if we're like gushy fanboys, but
yeah.
well, we just love this stuff.
Apologize for
We love
yourself.
this. Yeah, we love this stuff, and people should people should know the quickness of it. If you're in the game and you're doing comics, get quick, get fast, make volume. Like, this is all good. Crank out pages, if you're doing printed comics or webtoons, right? Don't be a perfectionist, like just kind of stitch through it and let your ideas flow, like let it roll, like ride with it, even if it's like not all coming out at once. We see here how Kirby is this, bringing us from one point to the next, and it's okay if you don't have the greatest story in one particular issue, and you'll get there, and you just give us some action in the meantime, right?
Yeah, hallelujah. Well, we did it. Another issue down. We're doing 20. which is the complete collection that I've secured. We're almost halfway there. Uh, as I mentioned, Jake and I are working on our own comic, our own way, at our own time. Every Sunday at 11, we release a new episode. So please come and join us over there. Yeah, create comics and comment about comics.
Yeah, buy comics,
Talk about it.
make podcasts about comics, do what we're doing, like, just whatever.
Yeah,
Go to conventions, dress up funny, have fun. Don't just don't just like live a 9 to 5 and then die
yeah.
and then go get put in the ground.
Oh,
Let's leave your mark somehow on this earth, and even if it's just consuming, that's good too because you're a patron of the arts and you're helping the creators continue the cycle of virtue.
awesome. Well, that's all I got, Jake. You got anything else?
No, that's it. Next week we'll get a little bit more into Turbo, and I am promising that I will lay out the roughs for the remaining 3 pages of issue 2,
Ooh,
which will be a fearsome scene featuring the unbeknownst one, and we'll learn about him in
you're
ways,
gonna do
and we'll
that. You're
see.
gonna do that on camera next week.
No, I'll have it. I should have it
Okay.
done by next. So that's going to be our main episode, our main series, the making of Turbo Pit Fighter comic. And we're just kind of like finishing the breakdowns and the story plotting of issue 2, where we're going to introduce the ultimate bad guy, and we're going to see him. I have some sketches of him, and we're going to see him in action, being extremely cruel.
All right then.
All right.
We'll see you all next week. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Kurt. Bye.